Welcome to the Chapter 11 lecture on public goods and common resources. Let's start with a quick introduction. We consume many goods without paying for them: public parks, national defense, clean air, and water. When goods have no prices, the market forces that normally allocate resources are absent. The private market will fail to provide the socially efficient quantity of such goods. This brings us back to principle number 7 of the 10 principles discussed in Chapter 1. Governments can sometimes improve market outcomes. In this chapter, we are going to discuss how government supplies goods and services that are beneficial to society that otherwise would not be available because the private market will not produce them. Let's go over the important characteristics of goods. A good is excludable if a person can be prevented from using it. Examples of excludable goods are tacos and wireless internet access. If you go to a restaurant, the only way you can enjoy tacos is if you pay for them. If you don't pay, you are prevented from using that good. With wireless internet access, most people set up password protection so only those with the password can use the wireless internet. Goods that are not excludable are FM radio signals and national defense. There's no way to prevent one individual from receiving an FM radio signal or prevent one individual from the benefits of national defense. A good is rival in consumption if one person's use of it diminishes others' use. The tacos would be rival because if I get to the restaurant before you and order tacos, there is less available for everybody else. A good that is not rival is an MP3 file of a song. If I download an MP3 of Kanye's latest single, it does not diminish your ability to download the song. There are 4 different types of goods: private goods, public goods, common resources, and natural monopolies. Private goods are excludable and rival in consumption. An example would be food. Those who don't pay can be prevented from enjoying food, and one person's consumption leaves less available for everybody else. Public goods are not excludable and not rival. An example is national defense. There's no way to prevent one person from the benefit of national defense, and one person's, quote, consumption does not leave less for everyone else. Common resources are rival but not excludable. An example would be fish in the ocean. There's no way to prevent one individual from fishing, but that one person fishing leaves less fish in the ocean for everybody else. Natural monopolies are excludable but not rival. An example is cable TV. Those who pay for cable can enjoy watching TV. However, one person's viewing does not diminish the ability of others to watch the same shows. In this chapter, we are going to focus on public goods and common resources. For both of these goods, externalities arise because something of value has no price attached to it. Private decisions about consumption and production can lead to an inefficient outcome. Therefore, the government gets involved and public policy can potentially raise economic well-being. Public goods are difficult for private markets to provide because of the free rider problem. A free rider is a person who receives the benefit of the good but avoids paying for it. If a good is not excludable, people have an incentive to be free riders because the firm cannot prevent non-payers from consuming the good. Therefore, private firms would never be profitable producing public goods. The result is the good is not produced even if buyers collectively value the good higher than the cost of producing it. If the benefit of a public good exceeds the cost of providing it, the government should provide the good and pay for it with a tax on the people who benefit from the consumption of the good. The problem is it's difficult to measure the benefit of the good. Cost-benefit analysis is a study that compares the costs and benefits of providing a public good. Cost-benefit analysis are imprecise, so the efficient provision of public goods is more difficult than that of private goods. Some important public goods are national defense, knowledge created through basic research, and fighting poverty. Common resources, like public goods, are not excludable. It is impossible to prevent free riders from using common resources. There is little incentive for private firms to produce common resources since they will not make a profit. So the government gets involved to see that they are provided. There is an additional problem with common resources. Each person's use reduces others' ability to use the resource. The government therefore has to ensure that the resource does not get overused. The tragedy of the commons is a parable that illustrates why common resources get used more than socially desirable. Here's the setting. A medieval town where sheep graze on common land. As the population grows, the number of sheep grows. Since the amount of land is fixed, the grass begins to disappear from overgrazing. The private incentive, using the land for free, outweighs the social incentives, using it carefully. The result is all of the grass is eaten and people can no longer raise sheep. The tragedy is due to an externality. Allowing one's flock to graze on common land reduces its quality for others. People neglect this external cost, resulting in overuse of the land. There are a few policy options to prevent overconsumption of common resources. The government can regulate the use of resources, impose a corrective tax to internalize the externality, like we discussed in Chapter 10. The government does this with hunting and fishing licenses, as well as entrance fees for congested national parks. The government can auction off permits allowing the use of a resource, as it does with spectrum auctions by the Federal Communications Commission. If the resource is land, the government can convert it to a private good by dividing and selling parcels to individuals. Some important common resources are clean air and water, congested roads, fish, whales, and other wildlife. In conclusion, public goods tend to be underprovided, while common resources tend to be overconsumed. These problems arise because property rights are not well established. Nobody owns the air, so no one can charge polluters. The result is too much pollution. No one can charge people the benefit from national defense, and the result is too little defense. The government can potentially solve these problems with appropriate policies. This is the end of the Chapter 11 lecture on public goods and common resources. If you have any questions about the key concepts from this chapter, please post a question in the Ask Professor Pakula discussion board or send me an email.